Arsenal family, what's up? Thank you so much for sticking around with us today. Hey, if you're new here, my name is Chad. I get the privilege of being the lead pastor of this community that we call the Arsenal, and we're just happy you're here. Everybody's got a seat at this table, so pull up a seat and let's have some fun today. Who's excited about worship night? We got a worship night coming up in a couple weeks, and I am stoked. You know, Rob even mentioned it. Like, I cannot wait to see you. Can't wait to air hug you or air high five you. We're going to do everything we can to be safe and socially distanced, but I cannot wait to see you guys. Cannot wait to worship with you. So a couple weeks, we got to wait a little bit longer, but we're excited. I'm excited. I cannot wait to meet up with you. Hey, today I'm kicking off a new series. It's a series of talks that we've simply titled God with Us. And we're stepping into what the church calls and what we call the Advent season. It's this, Advent simply means coming. It's this time of preparation of the coming of our Savior that we celebrate at Christmas. It's the 4 weeks leading up to Christmas that we're going to talk about God with us. And what does that mean for God to step into this world with His creation, the Creator to step into this world with His creation. And it's this time, these 4 weeks, that we're going to really step back and just meditate on what that truly means, that God came to be with us through this incarnation of Jesus, that He stepped into this world as a human to walk in this world with us. So we're going to look at that and meditate on that over the next 4 weeks. We'll talk about this incarnation and how it played in our lives, how it continues to play out in our lives, and how it plays this crucial role for us. And this year, 2020, I don't know, things just have felt different, right? Like, just a little different. It's a little different kind of year, right? Like, I don't know about you, but this last weekend after Thanksgiving, the 17,000 emails I got about Black Friday sales, they just sat differently with me. Like, I don't know, getting the best deal didn't seem like it mattered all that much to me. Look, if no shame in it, if you got the best deal that you could find, if you got a PlayStation 5, you probably didn't get that on Black Friday, but if you got a PlayStation 5, I would definitely come hang out at your house and play it. But like the deals just, I don't know, it just felt different to me. Maybe, did it feel different to you? Tell us, like, let me know. Did it feel different, or am I the only one? I'm telling you, there had to have been 17,000 emails. It was ridiculous. But I don't know, I wonder if this year, as we close out 2020, as we close out this wild year, and we head into the Christmas season, maybe we have a chance to kind of strip back the glam and the glitz and the red and the green of Christmas and, I don't know, focus on not just the real meaning of Christmas, because we say that all the time, right? We're going to focus on the real meaning of Christmas, and absolutely that's what we're going to do, but to really sit in this mindset, in this meditation of God with us. Like the creator of the universe stepping into our world with us and for us. What does this mean for us? How does this affect you, me? How does this affect us as a whole of humanity? What does this look like? And what I don't know, we did a series a while back we called The Best Summer Ever. Like, what a great year it is to look at this reality of God with us. No matter where you're at or where you've been, like what this year's been like for you. I don't know about for you, but I feel like 2020 has been really kind of illuminating for me. I see things differently than I did a year ago. Not in a bad way, maybe, just differently. I've taken a step back, and maybe there was things that we lost this year that, I don't know, we realized like maybe we didn't need those things. Like the time that we were spending at work, and I mean, speaking of myself, the time that I'm spending at work and not with the family, like the time that I got to spend with my family, the extended amount of time that I've got to spend with my kids, like that was different. And it brought perspective to things. This is the time this year where we settle in at the end of this year and we meditate on the coming of our Savior. We focus on it. Coming of our Savior in the form of a baby and what that really means to us. And I just think that this year might just be different enough, slowed down enough that we can really focus on what it means for God to be with us. I'm going to start this series of talks with a verse in John. It's John 1:1. In the ESV, it says this: "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God." And I wanted to start with the ESV because I think we've heard this verse, right? That in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. We've heard this. The Word, the capital Word, the capital W, the Word as a person was with God and is God. I love how in the Passion Translation, this is translated just a little differently, and I wanted to point it out because I think it breathes life into, not that the ESV doesn't have life, but it expands it for me to understand this, and it says it this way. Verse 1, it says, "In the very beginning, the living expression was already there." You see, they've taken this phrase, the word logos, and put living expression, which to me it brings it to life for me. And it says, "And the living expression was with God, yet fully God. They were together face to face in the very beginning. And through his creative inspiration, this living expression made all things. For nothing has existence apart from him. Life came into being because of him. For his life is light for all humanity. And this living expression is the light that burst through gloom, the light that darkness could not diminish." There's this, wondrously odd phenomenon, you might call it, of being a parent. Especially a parent of multiple kids, where you get the privilege of witnessing this living expression, particularly through each child. My kids, I've got 4 kids. Some of you know that, but I've got 4 kids. My kids are all so different from each other. And I'm not the only one that can see that. If you spend time with them for any extended amount of time, you pick up on it. They're not all the same. Same parents, but every kid comes out a little different. And the paradox of parenting is forming these little people with the parts you know and the parts you don't know and are discovering about each of them as you go along. Sure, you teach them manners and responsibilities and social ethics and who to root for in football, right? So they don't grow up to be just complete jerks in society. But then there's this mysterious part of parenting where you pay attention to how they have uniquely come into the world. And you help foster that uniqueness to its fullest fruition that they grow into as they grow into adults. That you take these little people that are all different, their personalities are different, the way that they interact with people is different, and you're trying to figure out what makes them different and how do I foster this into a place where they grow into good adults, loving people, unique expressions themselves. From Jaden to Jackson to Jet to Yara, those are my 4 kids, to all of our kids are different. They may have some similarities and we can see bits and pieces of ourselves in them, right? But ultimately they're all very unique and different from each other. There's this hidden part of the child that as a parent, you're trying to identify and just pay attention to. In that same way, we each have that uniqueness about us. And I think it's that hidden part of you that makes you you, makes me me, makes us not the same, right? Like nobody wants two Chads. Like there's one of me and that's enough for anybody, right? We don't need two of the same. We're all unique. And this year I'm asking us to bring that part of us to the Advent table, to this place of Advent where we're looking at what this incarnation means and we're setting it on the table. Maybe we need to rediscover who we are. Or maybe this is the year we finally discover who you are. That part of us that's created uniquely and on purpose. The living expression in you that is your unique expression of Jesus to the world. There's only one of you, and the living expression of our Creator looks uniquely beautiful through you and you alone. The Mirror version of the Bible says in verse 4, it translates the part where it said that life came into being because of him, for his life is light for all humanity. In the Mirror, it says his life is the light that defines our lives. It defines Jesus illuminates the deeper identity in you. It's the light that defines that deeper identity of who you truly are, who I truly am. Simply put, like the function of a light, right, is to help us see more clearly. In here, if I didn't have this light, you couldn't see me. It would be dark in here. There's these things on our phones that when it's too dark and we can't see things, we put it on, right? Because it helps us to be able to see things more clearly. You see, Jesus' life helps us to see our lives more clearly. This life, the living expression that was at the beginning but then steps into this world. This living expression that steps into this world and steps into our lives and illuminates the identity of who we truly are. Like, think about it. 2020 has been wild. And around every corner, there's been this unique new obstacle for us. Pastoring through a pandemic. What? At times for me during these past few months, if I'm being honest, there's been times where I've done my own questioning. My own questioning of who I am. What is this life for? What am I here for? Is this ministry thing all worth it? Is this church stuff, does it matter? And one of the things that this incarnation, Jesus stepping into this world, does for me, as I've kind of studied and meditated on this and thought through it really over the past few months and didn't even know that it was playing into these talks that we're giving in the next few weeks. But what the ideas for Advent and this idea of pulling up the seats to the table of Advent, it allows me to see things a little more clearly. For instance, at just a foundational level, like Jesus being human affirms our being human. Like, think about that. Jesus stepping into this world to become a human being, to walk this earth, to live this life, it affirms what we are, who we are. It affirms that we're not supposed to be anywhere else but here, now, in this life, in this world. That this is the life that we're asked to live. That you're supposed to be here. That 2020 is the year that you're supposed to be here. This is where you're supposed to be. And so I'm asking the question myself, why? What is happening? Why am I here? What are you doing in me? What are you doing through me? What does this look like for me? And my invitation to you for the start of this Advent season is, at this basic yet profoundly foundational place, can we look at the fact that Jesus being human affirms that we're supposed to be here? And we can thank God because being here right now kind of feels really complicated. And if I had to figure this out on my own, I don't know that I could. I think we're doing the best we can, right? We're figuring it out. It's kind of like, you look at parenting, right? Like, I have no idea what I'm doing. Don't tell my kids, but we're trying to figure it out. Just don't let them know that. They think that I know what I'm doing, and that's okay. But the reality is, if I have to figure 2020 out on my own, I don't know if I can do that. But what this incarnation, what this thought of Jesus stepping into this world as a human is doing for me is affirming that he was a human. It affirms me as a human, and it affirms that I'm supposed to be here. Maybe you don't get that. Maybe that's just me and what God's telling me right now. But I think it matters. It's profoundly basic, but foundational. And if we're talking about this year, like, it's not completely lost. What gives me hope in this Advent season, like without the glam and the glitz and the red and green of Christmas here in 2020, is the reminder that everything can be taken away except that hidden part of me. Whether I lose my savings or my house or my livelihood or life as the way we've always known it, what is untakeable is the part of me that Jesus illuminates that says, this is who you are. Who we are is deeper than where we find ourselves in this moment in this year. And Jesus illuminates the deeper identity in you. He shines that light inside of us to show us that we're deeper than just the things that we have or the things around us or the way that we thought life should be. There's something deeper. The reality of the incarnation is that God stepped into this world so that we could experience something deeper with him. We discover that our one unique representation of ourselves is all part of a collective whole of humanity, and we get to step into this together. I'm reminded in this Advent season that the coming of our Creator into this physical world reminds us of this profound fact, I would say, something that maybe we don't even think of, but as I say it, I think you'll be like, yeah, Chad, that makes sense. Like, there's no mountaintop that we trek up to with a group of friends in order to point out and be like, hey, there's the giant floating bearded God, that the one that we call God. There he is. There he is. He's floating over this mountaintop. There's not visible evidence like that way here. That's not what we look for. That type of physical evidence is not the evidence we're offered for faith to rely on. That's not what we're looking for, is this floating being that looks like Zeus but is God, right? Like, that's not our belief. That's not the faith, the place where we place our faith. Instead, when we begin to look at this, one of the best examples of when Jesus is teaching his disciples, and he's referencing the final judgment, where apparently this reality of God, this being that we've always thought was so far away from us, actually comes to the reality of the scene where he steps in with us and becomes one of us. So you see, Jesus says that some people gave him food when he was hungry and drink when he was thirsty. And he goes through this other list of human interactions as well. It's in Matthew 25, but the people that he's talking to say they never saw Jesus hungry or thirsty. And he replies, when you gave food to the least of these, you were giving it to me. And I've heard this taught, and I get it. Like, it's this idea of like, this is what we're supposed to, this is our mission, this is what we're supposed to do. And I believe that. But what is this odd mystery of the gospel right here, right? Jesus is pointing to this action of loving and caring for others in need. Essentially, it opens up this portal to a larger reality where we are interacting directly with God through people. You see, I don't know, for me, the incarnation, the Creator not only took part and stepped into human drama, but he suffered in that drama with us. And perhaps if we look at it in this way, we have an understanding that our God is compassionate and he understands where we're coming from. He's not a God that is out to get us. No. He's one that wanted to connect with us, wanted to know us exactly for who we are, our true selves, wanted to walk this life with us, to experience the suffering that we've had to go through so that he knows how to speak into it. So if I have this life that is a light of Jesus, that is illuminating the deeper identity of who I am inside of me, and my direct interaction with God in this physical world is quite frequently when I'm loving the least of these among us, then 2020, what a time to be alive. What a time to be here. What a time to be called to an understanding that the gospel and the incarnation, the life of Christ that has walked this earth, it's not solely for me individually, but it points to this beautiful exchange of love for each other. And if we look around right now, there are a lot of people in need. There are a lot of people that are experiencing loss this year, that are experiencing heartache, that are experiencing a life that they're not used to. And this is a beautiful time for us to begin to really meditate on what this incarnation means for you and I. What that light of the life of Jesus illuminates in us, the deeper identity of who we are. You see, each of my kids' uniqueness is not just for them to shut themselves in a room and enjoy it, but in their healthiest, might I say, most spiritual form, it's their own unique representation of Jesus to be used for those around them, where they get to show the love of Christ in unique ways. So as we begin this journey through the season of Advent and we discuss the coming of our Creator to be God with us, can we remember that it was not just to live this life. It was not just to say that he could do it, but was also to give us life that is a light that illuminates the deeper identity of who we uniquely are and how we come together as a whole in God's love. I don't know, this whole thought process reminds me of an old nursery rhyme, right? An old song that we used to sing. Maybe you know it. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. I could see Bonnie right now. She right before I did that, she was like, oh no, he's gonna sing. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine. I remember singing that song and always thinking like, this is how I'm gonna witness to people. Like the light that I have is gonna be this perfection that I'm showing to people because I have Jesus and I'm a perfect Christian and I'm gonna show them this light. But as I dig into this thought process of the living expression stepping into this world to be a life that brings light to illuminate who I am and the deeper understanding of who I am as a person, as the living expression lives through me. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine, reminds me that that light is illuminating the deepest identity of who I am. And that's not for me, but to show love to those around me. So this Advent season, over these next 4 weeks, let's let that light illuminate who each of us truly are, so that we might discover how we as a collective whole illuminate the light of Jesus to the world around us. Arsenal, I love you. I tell you this every week, but man, does it ring true when we look at this truth of John 1 and what Christ is doing in and through us. Arsenal, go love well. It is truly who you are made to be. We'll see you next time. Love you guys.
Hey, Arsenal family, thanks so much for hanging out today. We hope today's message spoke to you. If it did, share it with somebody that could use some good news today. Coming up very soon, we have an outdoor event, worship night, December 13th. We hope to see you there. Details are going to be coming. Make sure you're subscribed on YouTube. Hit the bell notification so that you're notified every time we put out more good news. We will see you soon.